So today I'm going to talk about basically, this is part 4 of a 5-part series on how to turn your pain into passion. So I want to say hello to everybody and see how everyone is doing. Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you for being here on the video series about turning this pain into passion. And today we're going to actually talk about how to transform the pain to passion by taking action. That's what we're going to talk about today. Because when anything goes wrong, if anything happens, one of the biggest things that we can do to sort of catalyze what's happening and shift it and change it is actually taking action. It doesn't have to be massive action. It can actually be a small action, but just a action that's inspired by your emotions and where you want things to go rather than what you're leaving behind, if that makes sense. So we already know the proverbial shit has hit the fan. We are basically in really chaotic times right now. And you have two options. You can basically lick your wounds and go back to whatever sense of normal you think you're going to find after this whole thing is over. Or you can start to regain, a better sense of normal for yourself and become a disruptor and create your new normal. Okay? And you can do that so that you can become the purpose-driven person that I know you are, because everybody wants meaning. Everybody wants something deeper in their lives, and you absolutely can find it. You just have to, realize what's happening in your life and then take the steps to pursue it. So today we're going to talk about this idea of turning your pain around, transforming it and converting it, and all of that stuff actually begins on the inside. It's actually an inside job. And today I would actually talk about my personal story of how I turned my personal pains into passion. And if you haven't heard me talk about it, well, this is going to be kind of a treat for you because it's my personal story. We're going to get deep and personal in here. So I mentioned that the struggles that we experience in our lives and how we see them, as defeating moments, they can actually be true pivot points in our lives. And we can actually use those pivot points to go toward freedom. We just have to shift our mindset about it, because truly the worst thing that has ever happened can really be the best thing if you just change the lens by which you view it. So in fact, it could be the single most important thing that shifts everything in your life. And that's like a really big deal. Like, you can really do something amazing if you can use that thing that happened to you as a catalyst to spawn anything, a new job, and an organization that you've created, actions that help others. I mean, there's so many ways that you can actually transform this thing that you've experienced into something beautiful. And that's actually exactly what happened to me. So we're going to get into it. So I use my pain as a driver, basically, to get into alignment. And I haven't seen a faster way for someone to get someone fired up than to talk about the stuff that's an issue, that presses on them, that really bothers them. It's like huge, right? Because whenever you talk to someone about the stuff that, is a problem for them, they get all fired up about it. And the thing is, you can use that energy, because all of this stuff is energy, and it's either working for you or working against you, one of the two, right? And so the idea is to get it to work for you in your life, and for you to use that stuff to empower you and possibly empower others as well. Okay? So for me, in my story, it actually started in 2008. And that's when I had all kinds of symptoms like fatigue, pain, all kinds of emotional, like stress, I had pain from carrying my laptop, emotional stress from like just not liking my job. I was so unhappy at where I was at the moment in 2008. And each time I thought about it, I literally felt pain on my shoulders. Like, my shoulder was hurting, not just from carrying my laptop, but from like the weight that it felt like every time I had to go into the office. And I remember one day sitting at my desk and saying to myself, crap, is this it? Like, is this all there is? And, I really dreaded going into the office and having to be there and having to do the work. And, I was getting frustrated with the people at work as well. So it was a really big deal. And so that day, that what would have been like a 15-minute walk for me felt like hours. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Sometimes when we go through things, it feels like we're going through so much more because of that emotional element to it, that emotional like stress that it causes. It makes it feel like it's taking ages longer, and it feels like it's emotionally so much more draining, right? So this happened right before basically I decided to take a really bold action. And in that moment, basically I had created like critical mass. It was like critical mass. Like it was like time, do or die, right? Either I would stay here and forever and just like be miserable for the rest of it, or really do something that could catapult me into something else and really change where I was and give me freedom and give me everything that I truly wanted. And so I made a move. Basically, I couldn't take it anymore. And as often happens, when we kind of make that decision, that click in our minds that, okay, this stuff has to change, something comes in and something intervenes and something kind of catalyzes the moment for you and makes something appear so that you can keep moving in that direction. So for me, it was a friend of mine who had said to me, "Oh, you're going through shoulder pain. Hey, I'm seeing a chiropractor. Why don't you come and see him as well?" And I was like, "All right, fine." I wasn't really a big into chiropractic care at the time, but I went to see the chiropractor, and I tell you, it was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. I mean, to this day, I even talk about my chiropractor in my book as such a catalyst for the changes that I went through in my life. And he catalyzed me to move because one, he was teaching me about my own body. One, he was telling me what was going on. And for me, like I'm always asking questions. Like that's what I do in my day job. I ask questions of my clients to help them build an experience. So with my chiropractor, I was asking him all kinds of questions about, well, why is this happening? What's that? And, why is this out of alignment? And why is this, et cetera, et cetera. And so because I was so inquisitive and so interested in, getting to the root of everything that was happening in my body, and I genuinely cared. It wasn't like I was just asking to be like impertinente, as they say in Spanish, impertinent, and to be annoying, but it was because I was truly interested in the work that he was doing, unbeknownst to me at the time, until later on when he was like, you sure that this isn't maybe the kind of work that you want to get into? Because you seem so interested and you're asking all these questions and all this and that. And not until he asked me that did I realize, like, wow, maybe it is something that I might want to get into. It's kind of interesting, right? So I started seeing this chiropractor, and the more I went and the more I felt relief and, from the pressure on my back, and I just started feeling so much better and asking all these questions, the more I realized that there was light at the end of this tunnel, right? One, for my personal physical pain, but two, because there were actually meaningful careers out there that genuinely helped people, that you can connect with people, that you can bring relief for people, that you can genuinely help people, right? And that's kind of what I was looking for. I was looking for a life of meaning. And that's what purpose-driven really means to me. Being purpose-driven, and the reason I created this whole purpose-driven revolution concept is because we truly, as human beings, want to connect, and we want to find meaning in things. And we want to find meaning in our own lives. And that's what I had found. He helped me find the meaning that I really was looking for. And so the idea here is that you can find meaning in other fields and careers and even projects. Like there's so many things that you can actually do to be happier in your life and be happier at your job and be happier in anything that you do by, finding those meaningful things. So in 2008, I ended up taking a sabbatical. I took, I think, 3 months off. And in that time, I basically was figuring myself out. I was figuring out what the heck I wanted to do with my life and what the heck I wanted to do with my career. Hey, Natal. Hey, El Bambino. Hey, cuz. And so I figured it out. I went to a couple of open houses. I did a little bit of research online. And I realized that I wanted to get into a field that actually helped people, right? And so that field for me ended up being massage therapy. I know I didn't want to be a chiropractor because my chiropractor was helping me, but I knew that wasn't exactly the area that I wanted to get into. But I did want to get into a field that really sparked something more incredible. Hey, bro, love you too. Hey, mole. All right, so I'm talking about basically the catalyst and the pivot point in my life where I realized that the shit had hit the fan and it was time to move on for my career, and how basically you can do that too. So, my chiropractor was a catalyst in my personal journey in my career because he not only healed my body, helped me heal my body, but he also taught me that there were meaningful careers out there where you can genuinely help people and help not people just feel better physically, but even help them mentally. Like, he would always answer all my questions about what was happening in my body, and he literally asked me, like, you sure this isn't the career that you want to get yourself into, instead of what I was doing in IT? And I didn't want to get into chiropractic, but I knew that I wanted to do something that helped people. And so that ended up being massage therapy. And so in 2008, I ended up getting into massage therapy. I actually started like researching schools and whatnot. And so funny, I went back to work because obviously I still had to make a living. I still had to make money. And I still had a home to pay for. Like, I was already living in this home here. And funny enough, about a month after I started working again, I got laid off. Like, talk about some crazy crap that happens to you when you're already like feeling not great about the career that you're in, and then they lay you off. It's like, it was crazy. But that bomb that got dropped on me, Resource Action, was probably one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. And here's the thing. The package that they gave me when I left that job, because I was an employee for so many years, the severance package actually paid for my schooling. Like, it literally paid for my massage training and my career. So it couldn't have happened. I mean, obviously I was emotional distressed about like being let go, but it couldn't have happened in a better way. I was like, literally, I wore the brightest shirt with a super sparkly necklace on my last day of work because I was so happy that they literally were paying for my school. And all the pains I had experienced and the circumstances surrounding everything, where it just seemed like everything was perfectly timed. Me having, taken that time off, and even having gone through the pains and everything before that, and then meeting my chiropractor, and then coming back to work to get laid off. And everything was like perfectly timed for this moment where they were literally paying for me to go to school to do the thing that I wanted to do. It could have happened in a better way. And it all started because I made one decision, that this was not okay, that this was not enough for me, and this was not the life I wanted to live. And that honesty I had with myself basically catapulted me into making these decisions that ultimately made me so much happier, helping people and doing what I love. So I just knew it. I mean, I knew there was something out there waiting for me. I just didn't know what it was, right? But I just needed to take an action. I couldn't be in that space anymore. So what I want to impart on everyone is that we need to start noticing the things that happen around us and that are actually in our power. You don't have to stay the way things are. No problem, honey. Te veo pronto. You don't have to stay in the same place. You don't have to be miserable in your job where you are. You can actually do amazing, great things. You just have to take the first step. And it feels like the universe, God, whatever you believe in, just, happy circumstances do appear, because guess what? You are taking that step to do something good for yourself. And for me, I was also doing something good for humanity, because in the meaning that I found in the job, it was also meaningful because I was helping others. So aside from having to notice these things that are happening around us, we can use those emotions of, being angry and being upset and being emotionally distraught and stressed and all that stuff. We can actually use that energy and harness it to do things that, change our lives, and that can actually help change and be a catalyst for other people's lives too. So pain, anger, frustration, like all those things motivated me to move out of where I was to find something that was really, really meaningful. So that's my story. I mean, this basically is a how to turn your pain to passion moment. I turned it and I realized where I was. I was honest with myself, and then I took a step. And that's what I want you to see, that you turn your pain into passion by realizing where you are, being honest about where you are and how you feel about it, because that's the most important. How you feel about it, and knowing that, and you can shift anything. Because if you're unhappy, you can move, you can change. And by being honest with yourself about it and owning it and knowing that this is where you are, then you can actually move in a new direction. And then obviously, like I said, things will happen around you that will kind of conspire to help you. So that's it. I want you all to start, looking at your lives and analyzing before you all go back to work now, before, this whole back in the office business happens, before maybe your business reopens. Ask yourself, were you happy there? Are you happy there right now? Be honest with yourself. Be truly present with how you feel and where you are in this moment, and realize that you can shift it. You can use that energy, that frustration, that pain, that that stress, all of that stuff about being unhappy where you are. You can use that energy, because remember, the energy is either working for you or working against you to make you more angry. Use the energy for you and empower yourself to move in the direction of what you actually care about. Then after that, it's really research, right? So in the next and last video, I'm actually going to talk about the steps to empowering yourself to start moving in that direction. Right now, we're kind of talking about like, well, how does it happen? How do you move from pain to passion? In the next one, we're going to outline the steps on how to actually go out and find it and get it. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the next session, which is on Sunday night, and I'm going to do it at 8 o'clock on Sunday, since I know you all have to work the next day. So I'll do it at 8 o'clock on Sunday. And if you missed the first 3 videos, go on to purposedrivenrevolution.com and sign up for the entire video series so that you can get each one. Like, there's only one left, but basically you'll get all of them. And I will see you all in the next video on Sunday. So I'll see you guys on the purposeful and passionful side. Bye.